The mystery of the Moonlit Forest. Deep in the heart of an ancient woodland, hidden from human eyes, there lay a place feared even by the bravest adventurers. It was called the Moonlit Forest. They said the trees there reached the skies, their trunks glowing with a faint silver light at night. Legends claimed that anyone who ventured into this forest either vanished forever or returned as a different person, as though something had erased a part of their soul. Ellie was an ordinary girl from a small village at the edge of the forest. She often watched as the full moon rose above the trees, its light casting an otherworldly glow over the towering canopy. The forest both fascinated and terrified her, as her grandmother's stories about it lingered in her mind. "Never enter the moonlit forest after dusk," her grandmother had warned. "The spirits of the lost wander there, and they are always searching for company." But one night curiosity overcame fear. Ellie had heard whispers among the villagers of a strange sound coming from the forest, melodic and haunting, like the notes of a distant flute. Something about it called to her. With a lantern in hand and her heart pounding in her chest, she stepped past the edge of the trees. The forest was unlike anything she had imagined. The moonlight filtered through the leaves, creating a silver haze. The air was cool and still, yet the sound of the flute seemed to come from all directions. Ellie followed it deeper into the woods, drawn by its eerie beauty. After what felt like hours, she came upon a clearing. At its center stood an ancient stone archway, overgrown with glowing vines. Beneath the arch sat a figure cloaked in shadow, playing the flute. The music stopped as Ellie approached, and the figure slowly turned to face her. "You heard the call," the figure said, its voice soft and echoing, like wind through the trees. Few are brave enough to answer. Ellie's lantern flickered, and she suddenly felt the weight of the forest pressing in around her. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I am a keeper of secrets," the figure replied. "This forest guards what the world has forgotten. Memories, dreams, fears, everything that once was, but no longer is." Ellie noticed that the archway behind the figure seemed to shimmer, showing glimpses of places she had never seen, ancient cities, endless deserts, and oceans that glowed like the stars. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "You are at a crossroads," the figure said. "Step through this gate, and you will uncover truths beyond your imagination. But beware, for every truth comes with a price." Ellie hesitated, the weight of the decision heavy in her chest. The pull of the unknown was irresistible, yet a deep sense of dread rooted her to the spot. Before she could decide, the flute began to play again, and the world around her seemed to blur. She felt herself being drawn toward the archway, her feet moving of their own accord. Just as she was about to cross the threshold, a voice, faint and familiar, whispered her name. She turned, and the forest was gone. Ellie found herself standing at the edge of her village, her lantern extinguished and the moonlight dim. The flute's melody was now just a memory, fading like a dream upon waking. The villagers found her the next morning, sitting silently by the forest's edge. She wouldn't speak of what she had seen, but her eyes held a distant look, as if part of her was still wandering in that strange moonlit realm. From that day on, Ellie never approached the forest again, but on quiet nights, when the moon was full, she could still hear the faint notes of a flute carried on the wind, calling her back to the mysteries she had left behind.